What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the post-game podcast. Another episode here. Thanks for tuning in and checking it out. Before I introduce today's guest, have a quick announcement to make. The post-game podcast is now on Beehive. We have a new newsletter that I'll be writing every Wednesday morning, putting out episodes and just sharing a little bit of what my guests share themselves. Some of the nuggets that hopefully I can put in a quick format, digestible format that are quick one-hitters. So if you don't have time to listen to the full episode, just go check out the Beehive newsletter. So post-game podcast on Beehive. With that said, today's guest is a former Division I basketball player turned entrepreneur, investor, and creator. He is the founder of Profluence, a media venture firm sitting at the intersection of sports, tech, and business. His name is Andrew Petcash. So Andrew, thanks for coming on, man. I've been following Andrew for a few years now at this point, I'd say, just on Twitter. He puts out a ton of great stuff on LinkedIn as well, just in the sports world. So a little bit of what we talked about are how he spots trends early, talks about a little bit of pickleball and how he spotted that several years ago. He discussed the power of content and doing it consistently, and now how he's helping build the future of athlete entrepreneurship. So I think you'll enjoy this one, whether you're into sports, whether you're into entrepreneurship, building something yourself, especially online. This will be an awesome episode for you to check out. So Andrew, thanks again, brother, and excited for people to listen to this. Here's the episode with Andrew Petcash. All right, man. Live. Andrew Petcash, Profluence community. I'm pumped to talk to you, man. I was just telling you a little bit. Just been following your stuff on LinkedIn and just love what you're doing in the sports world. It's definitely one of the leaders in the space. So I'm excited to have you on here and host you.
Appreciate it, Joe. And I'm excited to be here. I try to do a podcast every couple months. So this was the one you were persistent enough. So I was like, all right, this is the one I'm going to do. So
yeah,
it's good. Excited to be here.
Squeeze through. Yeah, man. It's persistence. That's what I say. I not great at a lot of things, but persistence is one of them. So you gotta be. But dude, so real quick, so this is just opportune. I feel like you put out a LinkedIn post earlier today about 7 years ago, or a tweet that you tweeted 7 years ago, right? About pickleball. Just played pickleball for the first time. One day the sport will blow up. That's kind of crazy. Like, so what do you think? Just you just have a knack for that kind of stuff, or you just, I mean, you're in it. So
yeah, I've always said, like, not just me, but my family, we're never the first to things, but we're always super early. We can do that with like cars we had growing up, to hobbies, to weight, like trainers we use, whatever it is. Like, we're never first, but I always feel like I get in things early. And so that's, hopefully been good in my stock picking, and then hopefully even better on the Profluence Capital side on picking early stage companies. I'm hoping it translates well of like being early enough. And so anyway, yeah, I just remember playing pickleball for the first time, and I was like, this is so fun. It was so easy to learn. You could incorporate so many people. This thing is going to blow up. And anyway, yeah, I was like, yeah, hopefully I have some more good spot on predictions. And then I can now, you not just say that, but then you can make business moves to, go along with that stuff. But yeah, that was pretty crazy. I saw that it came up on, I use this one service or whatever, and it just like will send me old articles or photos. It's pretty cool.
Totally.
And that one came up, and I was like, all right, whatever, I'm gonna post it.
Love it. Well, yeah, it's one thing to say it, but then if you're actually making investments, which we'll get into a little bit, I mean, you got to pull the trigger, and you're investing real dollars in some of these things. So yeah, man. But I'm curious to hear a little bit about your college hoop story, and just I won't ask about your whole upbringing and everything. But what I was specifically interested about that was that you got to be you, and then you basically said, I didn't really have any aspirations to go pro. It's almost like you hit your goal, and then you were more interested in the business side. Why do you think that was? Or because I was a little bit similar with that, actually. I played college baseball, but I don't really remember dreaming to play in the big leagues. Like maybe at one point, but played college baseball, check that off, and then it's kind of like, now what? But yeah, man, I'm curious.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we could go like philosophical on it. I from that standpoint, sometimes I always debate like how much is free will versus how much is fate and all this. And it's like, it was almost this thought was just planted in my head of like, hey, you're going to go play Division I college basketball. That was my goal. March Madness, like that was my last goal, and knocked that off. Like literally hit every basketball goal I wanted. But then you look back and go, why wasn't a goal to play in the NBA? Like, why were my goals all at, right before you can get to the upper echelon? And I don't know, maybe it was like it was never going to happen. And so for better, it just was like, focus your attention on making this happen, because no matter what you do, it would never happen. So I don't know, that's like sort of the philosophical side. But then the other was, I do remember getting to college and having to work even harder because, I'm 6'4", but I was undersized for a shooting guard at the Division I level. I was, one of the least athletic people. Like, I could barely dunk. I was a rim grazer where everyone else is through the legs, 360s, and this is just mid-major basketball. This isn't even like high major D1. And then, you just sort of the length and the size and the strength, and you just see these guys and it goes, hey, I'm just as skilled. All the things that you have to put time and effort into, like I would win all the conditioning drills. I would win anything that was mental. Shooting, I was, top 5 percentage-wise shooter in the Patriot League a few of the years. So anything skill-wise where you have to put actual time and effort into, I was top, but it was just what I was born with was great, top-notch to get me there. But to go and be that needle in a haystack, which is the NBA, it just wasn't there. And I think I got a pretty good sense early on. And it was like, all right, let me maximize this and then use this to leverage into the next thing. And that's always been mine of like building blocks. So I don't know. It's a good question. I'm going to pin it back on you. I know I do a lot of podcasts, so today might be a little bit more back and forth than you see. But I'm just curious, like what for you was and I'll say my defining moment, then I'll push it back to you. But to me, so Javante McCoy, good friend of mine, but he's on the Detroit Pistons now. And he was my roommate. We're still super close and good friends. But I was playing against him every day, and I ended up, being his backup. So I also had an NBA guy in front of me. And so I kind of knew, like, hey, he's 6'7". He's just as athletic. He shoots a little worse, but he can dunk, jump out the gym. He's just more athletic. And then he loved the game. So anyway, push it back on you. What was your moment?
Yeah, so I asked the question, but I haven't really thought about it. It's on myself, but no, I don't know, man, because I'm sure the same for you, right? You're playing hoops. That's the only thing probably you're obsessed with at that time. And you get, you reach the peak. Well, it's not the peak. I guess you achieve that goal. Because I just remember grinding it out, man. Yeah, just working really freaking hard in high school. That's kind of all I cared about. And then got to college, maybe got distracted a little bit with, had some fun, did some other things, and just over time fell out of love with the game a little bit, but not to the point where I would ever be quitting. Because that was never even a thought. It's not going to quit baseball. You're not going to quit basketball, but you kind of just you fall out of love with it. And that was a different era of college baseball too. But yeah, I don't really have a great answer for that, honestly. But and it's one of those things where there's guys, you can go to the minor leagues and then you'll see a guy will bounce around. They'll change to a catcher. They'll go in the outfield. And I was just ready to kind of turn the page and start working. And that's kind of the origin for this podcast, because turn the page and then it's like, all right, what's next a little bit? There's all these things from sports that you can translate directly into Profluence or whatever industry you're in, but kind of figuring that out and bridging that gap. So
yeah. And like my junior year was that was, I don't know, 2019 or whatever. That was really a defining moment of my life when I look back, because it was sort of the first moment where I went all in on basketball. I was like, hey, we got to make March Madness. So I went super hard in basketball, but also was like, hey, this is the best team we got. We're losing 2 seniors next year that are super important to the team. And so I had an incredible year that year on basketball, did well in school, like through the business school to get the finance degree. Then I started College Athlete Insight, which was the first media business I built. So I had a ton of fun. My junior year, like when I look back in reverse, I didn't know it in the time, was like I went so hard in every area of life. And then we did make March Madness 2020, COVID, all that, stuff happened. And then it went complete reverse, where like the next year was probably one of the, I don't want to say the worst years of my life, but just a complete redefining of like, basketball's done. I'm trying to figure out how to build a business. There's no social activity. It went from like the best of the best to, I don't say the worst of the worst because I still had it good compared to a lot of people, but it was just really wild of how it, and I feel like I'm finally getting back to the, junior year status, obviously without basketball, but, training, doing triathlon. So that's my physical side, on the mental
Sweet.
side, doing things, reading, getting back into reading and meditation, and then, building Profluence. I feel like we finally had a good, good spot. And then, socially and move cities. And so it's like kind of wild how like sports and moments, when you look back, like certain music hits those. I feel that. And so anyway,
Yeah.
just adding on to that about sports, it's funny how it goes in cycles. And I feel like I'm in one of those other interesting cycles to just take basketball out and put, other things.
And replace it with something. Yeah, replace it with something else for sure. For sure. So I wasn't planning on asking this, but what made you pick up and move? Because you're in St. Pete's, right? Down in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
What made you move down there?
Yeah. When I was really fully ready to go and put the foot on the gas for Profluence, the guy that was building with Scott Garber, who's a co-founder of Profluence, he lived down here and he's like, it's awesome. It's basically a college town for young professionals. During the week, people are grinding, doing their thing. The weekends then are fun. You got the beach right there. You got an airport, international airport, 10 minutes away that goes all over. You got all the pro sports teams. You got all the colleges. You got IMG. You got all this stuff down here. He goes, there's finance, Kathy Wood and their whole group is down here. So he's like, there's everything. And I was like, you know what? Like, let's go all in. And so I was just like, from a business standpoint, from a, change scenery, get a little, be in discomfort to find that, stride again is good. And so I was like, let's do it. So I just sort of went all in and I love it. And I was just gone for a few weeks. Great to spend time with family in the Northeast. But I got back the other day and I'm, man, I love it here. I missed it, which is crazy to say because I've never really been like, oh, I miss home. And it feels like this is a home right now. So we'll see how long that lasts. And
Yeah.
but yeah, it was just a bunch of different things. The
Sweet.
weather, yeah.
Oh,
So.
yeah. Yeah, I got a buddy that moved down to Tampa. He's not coming back. He's down there. He's down there.
Yeah.
He's down there for good.
You see that?
But
It's a lot of Northeast people. That's what's funny about it.
no, definitely. So yeah, man, I would just want to ask you a little bit about Profluence because as I've started this podcast, I've just gotten a little bit more interested in the sports business side and just connected with more people in that space, NIL, et cetera. So you started, yeah, because what you started athletes or what was it, CAI, right? And then did they get bought out by Air? That was kind of the origin of it.
Yeah.
And then
So
Profluence came after that. Yeah. What's kind of the timeline of?
yeah, I'll
of
give
that?
you like sort of the full scale. So when I was 13, 14, I started an NBA YouTube channel. It became one of the top ones in the space. That's where I sort of learned about like, oh, you can build media and it lasts. Ended up the NBA actually struck it down, which was wild because today they're like, they want people making it. They're paying people a lot of money to make it. And so it's like funny timing wise because I was like, damn, that would have been a great business in itself if today because of Gen Z and they're trying to get to them, but they struck that down. And so I was like, all right, that was the first time I realized like, hey, you can create content, but you got to create your own original because otherwise you're at the whims of these algorithms and you're also at the whims of like these big players that have millions, billions of dollars they can put towards legal stuff. Like they'll shut you down. So create your own stuff. That ended up leading to, okay, what's my expertise? It's like, well, NIL hit. I know college recruiting. I know college sports. I'm an athlete. Let's just mesh it all together. And, it's actually very similar to Profluence in podcast, ebook, obviously the website. I hit a bunch of good SEO marks. So I was getting thousands of views a day and impressions and people. So buying books and then one-on-one coaching. And it just became this nice little business while in college. And then Air raised a bunch of money. And I was sort of like, well, I don't want to do this forever. I'd rather go build a startup and this be part of something else. And so for them, it was like, hey, they can spend a ton of money on, Facebook ads and the marketing dollars, or they can acquire what I had built and use that as their top of funnel. And then also get me as the talent to go and start doing a bunch of other stuff on the NIL front. And so anyway, it made a ton of sense. Cash and equity deal, took that. That cash became the bootstrap money for Profluence later, which is amazing because we've taken no outside capital. So learned a bunch on the startup, but just saw this bigger gap in sports business, which was, creating creating the operating system for the business people in the space, right? Especially the founders and investors on the innovation side between capital and founders. And so, yeah, those Profluence started on media, then went community, then we have the venture fund, and just continue to build a bunch of things around it. And it's all about just bringing good people together and giving them everything they need, which we go through education, which is, the podcasts and the newsletters and the reports and all the media, through access, which is the in-person events, the digital virtual events, just bring people together. And then obviously the support, which is more on the capital side, or people need lawyers or they need advisors or whatever. That's where we can do some stuff over there. So yeah, it's been awesome. But it all roots from my love of building media and getting attention, and then knowing what to do with that distribution.
Gotcha, man. Yeah. And I heard you tell, it was another podcast, you were telling the story of the Profluence name, which is kind of interesting, right? Like pro athletes, and then the influence maybe that they have. So yeah, it's awesome. How is that kind of evolved then? So you said it was the media first. Like what were you thinking along those lines? Were you thinking, I want to build a media company, and then along the way, these opportunities just kind of came up? I mean, I'm sure you probably didn't plan it that way from the start. Or
yeah, it's crazy. Like you put a lot of plans out there, but ultimately so many things end up going different. And so you sort of know where the direction you're headed, which is good. I think you have to know that, and you have to have goals. But a lot of times it's like the things and the mechanics and everything gets changed around. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't really know. Like you just start one thing, then you add the next because you see that opportunity, and then you try another 5 things that you don't like and they don't work, and so you can those, and then you try something new and it works, and then you just try to figure out, how do I keep scaling them? And then all of a sudden now, like, you have a team of 4 people and you're like, how did we get here? It's like it feels like you just forget that so much goes into it, and it feels slow and boring and monotonous a lot of the times in the middle of it. And so for me, yeah, I started out, I was like, I just want to build a big personal Twitter account and see if I can make some personal money off of it. And then it was like, oh, maybe I should do a podcast. And then it was like, oh, wow, I'm getting some cool people. They actually they want to talk to me, and I'm learning a bunch. And then it was like, oh, now I have real insights. Oh, there's a newsletter. And then it was like, oh, wow, now we have 34,000 subscribers there. Okay, well, they probably want more. And then it's like, now you have a community. And then it's like, oh, now they want events. And so you just keep adding things, and then all of a sudden you look back and go, oh, wow, like we built a lot, but it didn't feel that way in the middle. And then it's like someone introduced you to someone, hey, you really need this person. It's like Raluca, who managed their whole backend. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, yeah, we hired her, and she takes all this. And you just like, it's kind of crazy how these things are built. And I always wonder, especially at big, like super big companies, I think that some of the most, there's a whole argument for, oh, there shouldn't be billionaires and all this. I don't think people realize how, I think some people would keep their current life versus the grind of a 10-year to become a billionaire or whatever. Like, yeah, a lot of people don't understand what they go through. And I get there's a lot of nuance in all this, but it's like I think to build a company like that has to be one of the most impressive things anyone could do, because you really have to go through the mud and you have to learn as you go and pivot and test. And so we're seeing that. And then people always ask, like, where are you going next? I'm sure that's a question for you. I don't know. Like, I've stopped trying to guess now, because like every time I've tried to be like, I think this is where we're going next, it ends up going a completely different direction. And so we're just sort of taking it and, now using our users for, hey, what do you want? What do you need? How can we be helpful? And, so anyway, long-winded, but that's sort of Profluence origin to the building of it.
No, it's really good, because I bet if there's somebody that's listening to this that sees you from the outside perspective, right? I don't know, your LinkedIn following, right, tens of thousands, right?
Yeah.
And they probably, like, you think that somebody at that point has it all figured out, right? And has the answers and knows what they're going to do the next day. But in reality, you just said it. You don't know. I mean, an opportunity could come up tomorrow. An introduction could come up. And it's just a matter of, again, not to get too philosophical and all that stuff, but just actually showing up, because I don't know where this is going, but I know that I've enjoyed talking to people like you and just kind of following the curiosity. So just kind of showing up, man. That's really interesting. So
it's half the battle, and then adding value to people. That's been a big thing. Like, there's so many, I've seen people, and usually it's, some people, you're also at a beneficial time. I don't have kids. I'm not married. I don't have I don't have a lot of that responsibility. So I can go all in. And so to me, that's like the best thing I can do of like, hey, let me go all in right now while I have that chance and opportunity. And you see some of those folks that maybe have those and they're very transactional in the ways they do certain things. I've missed out, and I'm not like hundreds of thousands of dollars that could be in my bank account by, sitting in the middle of things or helping people with XYZ or getting people jobs or whatever it is. But it was like, I believe a lot of that will come back on the backside. So it's also like, how do you just help a ton of people, give a ton of value? And so I've been pleased of like a lot of people like, oh, you have a good reputation in the industry. And it's like, that's great. But like, to me, reputation is just what people think. Like, to me, is like, well, is my character right? Like, character is who I truly am. And it's like, so I'm always trying to work on that and be like, okay, yeah, you have a business. Yeah, you have to monetize it. But like, we're also in sports, which changed my life, changes people's lives. Like, how do we also make an impact and not just completely, become transactional or sell out? And like you said, you show up, you add value, things happen. And yeah, I mean, it's quite wild. You just don't know. You just don't, yeah, you just don't know a lot of the time. That's what I figured out. So I've stopped trying to know and just focus on like, here's what I need to do today. And then, and one barometer I will say, and this has been super cool. And this is where I'm like grateful and blessed of like, hey, we've even had these happen. But having gone through the whole college athlete insight to air thing was such a great learning experience. It was obviously beneficial in a lot of ways for me personally, but like, I've now seen Profluence. The way I know we're on the right trajectory is when a next group comes and tries to like, they start being like, hey, what's it look like if we acquire you or we partner with you? And so we've had at different stages of the build of different companies, it's like, I know we keep leveling up. So I don't always know like what's next or where we're going, but I have a good barometer. Like we just got one a couple of weeks ago from a firm I deeply respect and trust, but it's like, it's just like, okay, that means we're on the right path because that means we're starting to get into a little bit of what they want. And then we have some things they don't want. And so, all right, let's just keep building. Like we must be doing something right. So I have used as a barometer, but again, that's not probably the best for a lot of people. But for me, it's like, okay, another group is super interesting. And hey, what would it look like if we buy you out and then bring you onto our team? Well, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. But also I'm like, all right, I know that means we're doing the right things. So let's keep going and hopefully build the next right things and then levels up even more. And then eventually, I don't know, maybe that does happen one day. I'm not quite sure. But that's the most question I get. Where are you taking this? Where are you going 5-10 years? I used to try to answer it. And now I literally just go make a ton of impact in the space, help as many people as possible. But I don't know. Like, who knows what we're going to build in a week, in a month, in 6 months. All I know is we're going to build something and it's going to get better and be better than it was today. So.
Oh, it's awesome, man. Well, yeah, I'm no economist or anything, but that's the beauty of a free market and capitalism and everything, right? It's like if there's competition in the space that you're building, that's probably a good sign, right? It means that there's demand for it and everything like that. So yeah, but dude, so I'm curious just from the venture side of it. So can you just walk me through, because I know at a high level private equity, venture capital, but what was the process like of actually raising the fund? And then maybe how do you, like, when do businesses look to raise capital, or just because I know that's a lot of the podcast conversations you've had, I think somewhat recently too, right? Is with guys in venture and everything.
Yeah. So
what that was like for you.
do you want me to go high, broad level? Do you want me to go on our side? I mean, I can give you the whole
Love to go on your side. Yeah. People can chat GPT high level. What,
yeah, sure.
what it is.
Yeah. And again, I always think ChatGPT is great. It gives you a good basis, but it's like, there's so much deeper to a lot of this stuff. And it is like, but anyway, again, it was just an opportunity that sort of fell in the lap, and it seemed like a no-brainer to take it on. We were building this, we had all these members, we had all this media attention, and had a guy that's super well respected and has done incredible himself and with his firm in the private equity space. And he was like, what you're building in sports, I've built in a different industry. And he's like, I want to give you some money to go deploy this, because he's like, I don't know where to put it, but I know I need money in sports because it's really taking off. And I was like, all right, I'll do that, but you got to teach me everything. Like, you got to take me under your wing and do everything. And so yeah, that's how it just sort of came up. Like, I didn't have any intention. I was never like, oh, I'm going to have a venture capital side or we're going to be investing in companies. But it was sort of like, hey, we're seeing a lot. we're helping a lot of people. We should own some parts of these companies, right? And so, and then that gentleman came along. He also went to Boston University like myself, so that helped. And then it was one of the hardest things I ever went and did, because you're basically raising on a black box of like, hey, we're investing in sports. I can't tell you what companies we're going to invest in, but like they're going to be good and hopefully return money in 5 to 10 years. And so then went and raised that, and it's been going really well. On paper, it's doing incredible. Like if it was in the stock market, you would be, looking at your phone and jumping for joy. But again, that's just on paper. So hopefully, and I think so. I think it's really going to crush. And so a lot of our investors and LPs are like, hey, when's the next one? And so we're sort of starting to look at and evaluate that. I'm just loving building the platform. I've realized like I can be an investor and I like doing that, but I just love building things. I love that 0 to 1. And so to me, I'm just enjoying building Profluence itself so much that I want to be like, hey, how do we just build this as the best platform, bring all the people in? There's 100 plus, venture firms out there that do stuff in sports. If I really wanted to build that and go all in, I could do it, but there's no one building what we're building. So, how do I go do this the best? And then if we want to partner with someone, if we want to go big ourselves, we can do that. So we have a lot of those discussions rolling. I do like that game, but I just love what we're building. No one else is really doing the full scope of it. There's people doing bits and pieces of it, but so anyway, that's sort of the battle I have. It was just an opportunity that came up. It's been incredible. I've learned so much. It's given me so much better perspective to be able to help founders of like, hey, here's what investors think about, because this is what I thought about. This is what I had to go through. This is what I had to do. And then, with what we have, we still see a lot. So we're always trying to figure out what to do with it. But yeah, that was I could talk for hours on that. There's so many crazy stories and lessons and, flying to Mexico to meet, a billionaire and all this crazy stuff. Like there's so many, they're going to be awesome stories if I ever write a book one day, on it. But it's, that's a wild, the capital raising game and just venture capital is a wild space.
Yeah. So, okay. So for you, is there kind of what's the word? It's kind of a dichotomy because you didn't raise any money to build Profluence, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of bootstrapped it, because with venture capital and private equity, I mean, it dilutes. There's the dilution aspect, right, of the company, and then you're kind of at the mercy of a lot of these people that have given you money. What's your, what's like the give and take with that a little bit?
Well, there's been some irony in what we've built, because like a lot of people that are coming to us are trying to raise money, dilute themselves, which you need it for certain companies. But with what we're building, it was just like, we need to be bootstrapped because we're sitting in the center. We can't have, if you look at any of the media companies in sports, not just who I'm going to compare it to because they're putting out content, there's quite frankly a lot of conflicts of interest. They're all owned by someone else. If you even look at some of the groups that are doing some stuff similar to Profluence, they all have other investors, and those other investors have intentions, are using them for something. So it's how
not
much
just
is
sports. That's it. Yeah, not just sports. That's that. Anything. Yeah.
And so when we're building Profluence and really the community is our center, I'm like, it should just be us. It should just be owned by us, because let's say we have some private equity firm giving us money, or fail, it doesn't matter who. It's like, well, there's someone else really pulling the strings here. Are you sure that report is fully honest? Are you sure that media piece, that podcast, how much is conflict of interest or diluted? And that's basically, again, like you said, every industry, but especially in sports. And I have it all listed out from media companies, from communities, from everyone who owns them. I've sat on it. I've never posted it to LinkedIn. I'm saving it for the right time. But one time I will post that and be like, Profluence is the only group fully owned. So there's been that. And then, I mean, a lot of companies, like if you're building solutions in tech, you do need to raise venture capital. For what we're doing, it's like, if we're helping people raise venture capital from the sense of that, then I don't think we should have it, because that means like there's other factors at play. So
sure.
I guess there's a little bit of irony in there, but
yeah. Because it's like the food industry thing, right? It's like, if you look, all those food. One of my buddies is big into that. He's big into the health and wellness space. But it's like you see all these the foods and everything that are really bad for you, they're owned by the same three conglomerates or something like that. But anyway, we won't get into that conversation. What and I want to wrap this up soon. I love the fact that that's one of the things I like about your podcast, because they're usually 30 minutes long, right?
Yeah, we try to keep them,
that has to be intentional, right? Just keep them 30 minutes.
Yeah,
all good stuff in there.
I think podcasts, at least for me, and at least being a niche podcast, I think 20 to 30 minutes is the sweet spot. I think yours go a little bit longer because you're tying in personal and you're tying in a lot of stories and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like when I have the CEO of Major League Cricket on, it's like there's only so many things he can talk about and do. It's like, I'm not going into your background. I'm not going into it's like, we just want to hear about what's going on in cricket. It's like there's only so much you can speak on. I've just found that that's a sweet spot. But again, that's things we've tested out, right? We've tried 45 minutes, we've tried an hour, we've tried 10 minutes. Like we've tried the whole spectrum and just sort of found like, the optimal for listens and engaging and how much content you can get. And frankly, what listeners is like 20, 30 minutes. So anyway, like that's a lot of things like people don't realize just about anything is like it seems so simple, like a podcast, like you have no idea. That's just one function. It's like one of the last free things of Profluence. How much time and effort and everything that goes into that and testing. It's like there's a lot, and we have so many other ideas, but it's like, okay, we like those, but like we know then it opens up a whole nother can of worms of testing, and you got thumbnails and post-production and reaching out to guests and getting them, and then the conversation, and then clips, and then posting them to socials, and then testing time length. Like, I don't know. I just always like to call that out for anyone. Like, people take things for granted, whether it's reading a link. Oh, I don't like your LinkedIn post today, Andrew. Or, oh, I didn't. You have no clue how much time, effort, and just things go into it. It's easy as a consumer just to be like, ugh, but it's like the real builders know and respect that. And so
totally.
Anyway.
Yeah. That's like me. I'm trying to start releasing them on Wednesday mornings. So I've done that maybe the last month. So like last night I was out for a bit at that event. This morning I got up super early because I still need to record an intro and all this stuff and make a thumbnail. Meanwhile, I'm like, I wish it didn't come down to this last second, but I had to try and get it out. Had to do it, man.
And most podcasts, it's like there's some crazy stat, but it's like 90% of podcasts don't even get past like episode 10 or something.
Yeah,
so, I don't know what number you're at, but we're at like 250 something now, and it's just like built into it. I don't think about it anymore, and you'll see like it gets just easier and easier, like from the standpoint of like, all right, this person, I don't know them, but like I sort of know what they're going to want to talk about, how they're going to speak, what questions are going to interest them. So yeah, for
sure. Well, dude, okay. So maybe just one or two more quick questions, because that raises a good point for you. So you were doing this a lot by yourself, I'd imagine, right? In the beginning, did you have a team or anything like that early on? So it was just you?
Yeah, it was just me starting out, and then a bunch of freelancers. So again, like you're learning, like it's been nice with a lot of AI tools, even, for people like we're recording this on Riverside. Like I spent thousands of dollars on like getting audio, made better, on thumbnails and all this. But it's like, that's the other thing about learning. I think a lot of people don't, appreciate is like, especially at the beginning, like a lot of it falls on like someone's own personal money. And really even still today, right? Like there's our company, and I guess it's written off and lowers taxes a bit, but it's really still like any dollar we spend on something is still really, our personal money to some degree. Right. And so I spent a ton of money learning. It was just me. Then Scott as a co-founder, we had much different complementary skill sets. And then we brought on Raluca, we just brought on Chad. And so we've just, it's funny, like going back to a little bit, like we're bootstrapped. Now the big part of the irony is now everyone wants to give us money. So it's like, and I just say no, like I don't need your money, but like, it's just funny how that works. Cause some of these people creep and scrawl, and they do everything. They would anything to raise $500, $1 million to go build. And, I've had people literally, hey, let's go have lunch. And I'm thinking nothing of it. And they'll literally pull out a check and write $500,000. Literally we had a former athlete literally wrote $500,000 on a check and pushed it across the table. And I literally just picked it up and handed it back to him. Like, I don't want this. And it's like, it's just funny how that works, of like, blessed to be in the position to say no to that, but also like, it's just kind of funny how it works when like, when you actually really need money, no one wants to give it to you. But then when you don't need it, it's like, or you don't want to take it, it's like, oh, it just flows. And so I don't know, try to apply that
Yep.
to a lot of things.
Yeah, totally, totally. Yeah, man, that's to turn that down. Yeah, that's it. So this has all just gotten you into some. You building this has probably gotten you in some rooms that you never thought that you would have been in. But all right, man. Well, last thing. So youth sports, emerging sports leagues, those are two big areas that you focus on. What? So I know this might be like a softball question, but are there unexpected areas that people maybe aren't thinking about that are going to come up? Like, what's the biggest opportunity right now that you see that you might be investing in?
Yeah, some of the biggest opportunities are in, I call it layer one solutions. So, and youth sports has a ton of layer one solutions. Can you build the facilities? Can you build where all the participation is going to happen? Right. You're seeing this a lot in pro sports, even. Hey, we have this great team. Now let's build the entertainment district around it, the shopping and the condos and the entertainment, the Top Golf or the baseball simulator attached to the stadium, whatever it is, right? And so I see a ton of opportunity in those spaces as sports just continues to grow as an asset class. And then, yeah, private equity's coming in and starting to really roll up a lot. And so anyway, just answering that, like that whole space of companies, they go through times of consolidation and fragmentation. And so sports has been very fragmented recently. You're just seeing so much of different places. You can see that even on, like, if you want to watch every NFL game, you got to have like 8 different, service, like streaming providers or whatever. And so, like, you see that across sports and every different thing. Hey, you want to be in tennis, there's 8 different analytics apps or whatever, right? And a lot of them are starting to consolidate down as private equity is coming in, saying, hey, we want this, we're going to roll up this. And so that's a really good time for the capital folks to make money, but it's also a really good time for founders to, build things that can get scooped up and make money themselves. And so there's a ton of great opportunities. We talk about a lot of them weekly in Profluence on the newsletter or whatever. So I won't go too deep into all the different ones, but think global, think growth. What things are early? What are they going to look like in 10 years? How can you, build something that serves everything? If you're building a technology solution, how do you use sports to start to go into other industries, right? Use that as a boost or extender. And, it's funny because like sports business, like sports is a game, business is a game. And so like, if you think of like what's sports business, it's a game within a game. Like it's like all these games. And so that's what makes it quite fun industry to be in. You get to go to cool things, if you do the right stuff, you get to be part of the ecosystem as us, former college athletes that has given us so much. It's cool to still be in the space and then remember, like, this is about helping little Johnny and Jane and transforming their lives too. I think that gets lost a lot in the monetization rush of, hey, there's real stakes here for our future generations. Let's make sure we still provide all the beauties and benefits of sports as we also all go and try to, monetarily do well.
Sure. Yeah, there's a lot at stake right now. I think for the youth sports industry, I mean, because it was probably for you probably were in that era where AAU basketball was hot. It was probably hot at that time. I mean, for me, travel baseball was kind of just becoming a thing. I mean, it was established at that point, but yeah, I coached travel ball the last couple of years, and you just see, man, it's different. Like, the expectations are different. The outcomes are a lot different with what happens. I mean, a lot of the kids that probably would have been fringe D1 guys are now barely D3 guys. It's just crazy with everything that it's evolved into, and now NIL and the revenue sharing and whatnot. It's a crazy time. I mean, I'm sure 10 years ago they were saying that too, but right now it just seems more focused just because we're right in it. So yeah.
No, I mean, just quick add on to that, I'd say it probably rhymes in ways. I do think it is a lot different though right now. Just there's a lot more pressure, there's a lot more options. And now, for me, the whole goal is get a scholarship. I never thought about, I'm gonna make money playing in college. Now every high school, I coached high school basketball for 1 year out of college. It was pretty fun. I do want to coach again at some point, not like college, just, assistant at a high school or whatever. I enjoyed that. But it's like, oh, we want to go make NIL money. They don't even care about the scholarship piece of it, right? It's how do we and there's crazy money floating around, and that can be life changing. I mean, there's going to be legit. I think about, I came out of school with a little bit of cash and this opportunity to go work for this company because I built a cool media website in the space. Now imagine, my one friend that's playing right now, he's going to come out of college playing. He's not even high major. He's like right below it. He's going to come out, if he does what he's supposed to do and all the payments, everything. I mean, he's going to come out with, and he doesn't spend like an idiot. He's going to come out with, $500,000 to $1 million liquid at 22, 23 years old. Like now that gives you a lot of flexibility and a lot of, a chance to take risk, to have a little comfort. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild, wild. So I'm curious to see, fast forward 20 years, I think we'll see a lot more big time like athlete entrepreneurs or people successful, because they're going to learn a lot of the intangibles, because now they're actually dealing with real money and things. And then they're going to be able to be like, hey, I'm going to put 250,000 into my own thing, and then I'm going to go raise some money because if I learned all this and built all the networks and did this. And I think we'll see a lot of athletes become great entrepreneurs. It's just one thing I have on, because, I think it's always been a true thing, but I think you'll just see it earlier now because people will be like, I'm liquid, super young.
Yep. Yeah, it's so true, man. Yeah, I was just talking to dude Rashad Campbell. I don't know if you've seen his name, but with Advanced NIL, I think, and he was saying something along in the similar vein that you're going to see. I mean, it's really good for, I think. Well, the competition is going to really expose, I think, people that maybe did that, or were more involved in the business side of it. See, when I was in school, I was kind of just going through the motions to get to baseball practice. And that wasn't everybody, but it's just, if I'm looking at myself in the mirror, that was the case. And then afterwards, you're like, all right, now we'll figure it out. But yeah, it's we could talk about this forever, man. We'll wrap it up, but we'll have to stay in touch here and just keep talking.
Awesome.
But
yeah, I love it, Joe. Appreciate you having me on. And then if anyone that's listening, you have questions or, just always feel free to email me, petcash@profluence.com, or just reach out on Twitter or LinkedIn. I just enjoy discussions or questions or fascinating things. So
awesome.
Always happy to engage in those. I do a pretty good job of getting to everybody.
You do. Yeah. Might take you a little bit to tab you down, but no, just kidding.
Yeah, no, it's true.
No, you do. You responded to me, and I think you responded to me right away. So
awesome.
I appreciate it. And dude, thankful for you being on here.
Awesome.
All right.